Shalom, how's everyone doing? Today's day 32 of the Kitzur Shulchan. We'll be learning Siman Seif Beis. Okay, let's begin. Afilu lahar b'divrei kedusha, even to think matters of kedusha, b'makom tzoa or meraglaim, in a place where there's either tzoa or meraglaim, o kol davar shumas reach, anything that gives off a bad smell, aser, it's aser. Ad sheyichaseo, so until he covers it, k'mosh nemar, as the pasuk says, v'chisisa aseyas achi, you should cover your tzoa. Or if we're dealing with meraglaim, or you just put into, let's say you have a cup that somebody used for meraglaim, he put his meraglaim in it, then all you have to do, you don't have to cover it, you just have to pour a revius of water into that cup, and then you're good to go. It doesn't matter if the meraglaim is there first, and then you put the water in it, and it doesn't matter if the water was there first and then the meraglaim goes in it. Both those cases, it'd be okay. However, if the meraglaim was put in a cup that's specified to use for meraglaim, putting water in does not help, as we'll see. Well, meraglaim, let's say you have a cup and people want meraglaim twice in it, then you need to put 2 revius of water in it, and so on. Let's say you have meraglaim that was absorbed into the ground or into a beged, right, and it's in front of you. If it's still a little bit wet, right, usually this means it's tofeach hamnasa adviach, it's basically it's so wet it's able to make other things wet. In that case, right, either you cover it or you have to pour water on it. Okay, fine. So what's the Kitzur dealing with here? It's like what we were talking about yesterday, right? Still, we're dealing with this Isser to say Devam Shebekdusha in the presence of Tzoa. So the Kitzur really starts off his point and he's talking about what's considered the presence of Tzoa. What's considered? So, obviously the first thing he says is that if it's covered, you're not in the presence of Tzoa. So there's really 2 ways to look at that. And I'll explain from a Gemara. Right? There's a Gemara that talks about Tzoa ba'ashashis. Let's say you have Tzoa and you decide to cover it, which is usually what you do if you want to, say Devar Shebekdusha, but you cover it with a glass covering, so you could see it. So is that okay? Right? Is it still considered in your presence if you could see it, but it's covered? So the Gemara says it's clear it's okay, but there's really 2 girsas of the Gemara why. There's Rashi's girsa and the Rif's girsa. Rashi's girsa is that really it's fine, even though you could see it because it's covered. That's what the Rashi says, right? The pasuk says v'chisisa seyasacha, right? You're supposed to cover your tzoa. This is covered. How can you say it's not okay? So even though it might be, kind of considered like it's in your presence, but what can we do? The pasuk says all you have to do is cover your tzoa, and then you're good enough. So it's a mechalik between even a covering you can see and a covering you can't see. That's Rashi's girsa of the Gemara. The Rif has a different girsa of the Gemara. The Rif's girsa of the Gemara is all the pasuk says is that so it can't be in your presence, it can't be in your machane, it can't be in your camp. Once something's covered, even if you could see it, it's not considered in your presence, right? So I don't know if there's any nafkamina, but there's seemingly 2 different ways we learn the heter of a cover. Either we say the heter is just like exer sakatzev, like it's in your presence, but what can we do? Like the pasuk says covering helps, or maybe no. Once something's covered, it's considered like it's not in your presence, even if you could see it. Right, and obviously we hold like this Gemara. Nobody argues, right? Shulchan Aruch brings it down. It says, Tzoa ba'ashashis mutra likros kenegda. You have Tzoa in glass. You could read Shema or say any Devar Shebekdusha in its presence. But what the Nosei Kelim deal with here is, okay, let's say you have the Tzoa, it's covered, it's in glass or it's really in anything, but you could still smell it, right? Is that a problem? Is that a problem if you could still smell it? So that's a good question. So everyone here quotes the Divrei Chamudos. Right? The Divrei Chamudos brings down this case of Tzoa ba'ashashis. This is in 3rd parak of Brachos, Sif Kadon Kuf Nun Beis. And he says, Nira de'ima gilo reach ra. Right? Let's say it's fine, it's covered, right? You're looking at it, it's covered, so it should be fine, but you could still smell it. He says, seemingly this is based off of machlokes in a different sugya. What sugya is he talking about? He's talking. There's another sugya that has a major yisod in the area of tzoa. The case basically is, let's say you're in your room, right? And obviously you're in your room. There's tzoa in front of you in your room. You can't see the Devar Shebekdusha there. There's tzoa in front of you. But let's say the tsoa, right, it's in front of you, but it's on an area that's 10 tefachim high and it's 4 tefachim wide. Is that okay? So the Gemara says, yes, it's okay. Why is it okay? Because in halacha, even if something's in the same room as you, but it's on an area that's 10 tefachim high, 4 tefachim wide, that has a status of a different place. It has a status of a different rishus. And it's okay to say Dvarim Shebekdusha in that situation. So if you look at the Rosh says, Yesh mefarshim ki hechi de'afsaka mo'elas l'tzoa hachanemi mo'elas le'rechra. There's a shita, this is actually the shita of the Rabbeinu Yonah, that just like it serves as a separation between you and the tzoa and allows you to say Dvarim Shebekdusha, even if you could smell it, it still serves as a separation. Right? It's in a different rishus, it's in a different place. It doesn't matter if you could smell it. Right, the Aruch Shulchan goes crazy about this shita. He says it can't be. You're smelling the tzoa and you could still say Shema, but that's the shita of Rabbeinu Yonah. However, Rabbeinu Moshe Zali quotes Kasav Kevan Sharech Migilav Ein Hafsak Mo'elas Klal. Now, what's the Gemara talking about? That if something's in a different rishus, it's in a different place, you could say Devarim Shebekdusha. That's if you can't smell it. But if you could smell it, obviously it's going to be a problem. So the Divrei Chmura says, let's connect it back to here, right? You have tzoa in glass. It should be telling this machlokas about do you just need it to be covered, or do you also need it? Do you need it to be in a different rishus, or do you also need to not be able to smell it? But he says no. He says nirli da filam adamar hasam hafsaka moelas moda hachada asur. He says no. There is a shita there that if tzoa is in a different rishus, but you could smell it, then it's okay. But here's different. Deshani hafsakas rishus acheres mikisa ba'ama. This is more of a weak covering, right? There in that case, where it's on a platform of 10 by 4, that's a totally different area. So therefore, there is a tzad to say that even if you could smell it, it won't be a problem. But when it comes to covered tzoa, when it's kind of like it's right there, you could see it, then there would actually be no heter if you smell it. And this case of tzoa ba'ashashas, you have the tzoa in the glass covering, that's if you can't smell it. But pashut pshat behind that shita, and we do hold like that shita that if you smell, in every situation, if you're smelling tzoa, it's going to be problematic. But all you have to do is just go away from the smell, and you should be able to say Dvarim Shebekdusha. Right? Where does this usually come up? I'm saying like a practical case. Most cases of tzoa, where do they practically come up? They usually come up with like a dirty diaper. You have a kid, he's wearing a diaper, he has a dirty diaper. That's tzoa right there. That's so. True, it's a case of tzoa b'kisoy, it's covered. So you might think, okay, you're good to go, it's covered. But obviously we have this halacha. If you actually could smell the tzoa, then there's no heter. Okay, but what are you gonna think? Okay, as long as you don't smell the tzoa, you're good to go. We're not going to get into this now, but there is a major shita in the Rishonim that even if you personally don't smell it, you still have to be 4 amos away from where the smell is, right? So I'll give you this example. You have this kid in the diaper. If you go straight right up to the diaper and you can't smell it from the outside, there's no shaila. You could say Dvarim Shebekdusha there, it's covered. But let's say you smell it a little bit outside the diaper, so you might think, okay, I'll just distance myself so I don't smell it anymore, and that will be okay. But there's a major shita in the Rishonim that no, you actually have to distance yourself 4 amos from the smell, which would mean that if you're saying any Dvarim Shebekdusha by a kid who has dirty diaper, you really have to go 4 amos away from him. Because the smell, you could really smell it like a little bit outside the diaper, so you'd have to actually go 4 amos away from him, but we will get into that another time. Fine. That's really the first thing the Kitzur talks about. And then the Kitzur talks about Me'er Reglaim, right? We mentioned yesterday that there's only a problem of tzoa and a problem of erva. Where does this Me'er Reglaim idea come from? So really the Gemara mentions it. It makes a drasha from the word yad. The pasuk says the word yad. But the Gemara is very clear that the only deoraisa idea, right? We concluded yesterday that saying Dvarim Shebekdusha by tzoa will be a deoraisa idea, that even you can on a deoraisa level. The same is true by Me'er Reglaim. We also make a drasha by Me'er Reglaim, but the Gemara is very clear. That's only while the Me'er Reglaim is coming out of him. Once it goes into the ground, that shifts to Durabanan, and that's why the Gemara says we have these various heterim. You could just put water in it. Like that heter of putting water, it stems from the fact that it is only an Isser Durabanan.